Hey you guys, it's Eric Silvermoon, aka the Lunar Wolf, and today I actually wanted to do a speed paint painting. This is a piece that I've dedicated to working with Odin. It's called the Raven King. I've been studying a lot about Odin and all the tales and mythology, as well as the folklore. I read a couple books. I believe 4 books now, and when I say read, I mean audiobooks, because it's just so much easier for me to listen to them while I'm actually working and driving, and it's been really interesting. Some of the books I've actually read twice or listened to twice, but it's been really interesting diving into this god, and I'm just kind of wowed by the similarities between Odin and the goddess Morgan, especially this piece here, because it almost feels like it could be a partnership between the goddess Morgan and the god Odin, especially as one of his many names that he goes by, which is the Raven King. But I wanted to actually just talk about the experiences that I've been lucky, I guess I would say, to experience with Odin. I'm very humbled and blessed about them. I decided to do a 30 days of Odin, very similar to my 30 days of magic and the 30 days of the goddess Morgan, where I dedicate myself for 30 days to working specifically with one god or one intent. And normally I would post it on YouTube and share it with everyone, but this time was a little bit different. And I'll go into that as well. So one of the things that I did on July 15th is when I started my 30 days on July 15th, and I was outside. It was, I think, the day after the full moon. The moon was still beautiful and full, and I decided that it's going to be the best time to do my dedication ceremony and ritual. I had everything already planned out. The time, I believe, was around like 8:30 p.m. Odin works with the number 9s and the number 3s and number 9s. And then for me, 3 is a very magical number for myself. I use it all the time in my magic. And then the multiple 3 is 9, so I thought it was just a good little balance. So I was sitting out in my backyard. I set up my altar for Odin. I had all the candles out. It's summer, so it was still 105 that night. I know, it's disgusting. And I was in the pool. I was alone. I turned all the lights off. I turned the light off from the pool just so the only light I could see is going to be the light of the moon. And I was in the pool by myself. I was just sitting there naked because I felt like I needed to just be, as in many of us go skyclad in ritual. There's just something very powerful about standing in this sacred space with no mask, nothing, just bearing your vulnerability out there. And I was waiting for it to be 9 o'clock because that's when I wanted to start my ritual. And the moon was kind of bouncing and dancing around the waves from the pool, and I decided to just sit there and kind of scry. And I already, like I mentioned, I already had my dedication letter already made, and I usually always I wasn't use the word sacrifice, which is what it is, but I always give up something in honor of working for like a 30-day thing, or like I give up doing something or whatever. I believe with the goddess Morgan, when I did the 30 days, I gave up soda, and I was like, it's no big deal. Like I love soda. I drink a lot of it, and you know, I'm just not gonna have any, and it should be good for me. And I was able to do that, and that was great. And then I went back to soda. But this time I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna, give something a little bit more hard, something more challenging. And I was like, I'm really into sweets. I have candies and just like sugar all the time, and I'm gonna go ahead and sacrifice that and give that up for 30 days. And while I was sitting in the pool, kind of just scrying with the moon and then creating these little waves, it was really interesting how the light from the moon turned into these little sparkles. After like you look at something for so long and you manipulate it, your mind starts creating these images, and all I saw was just these beautiful little like fairy lights everywhere in the water, and I got so transfixed by it, and I felt that would be a perfect opportunity to just call in Odin in that moment. And while I was speaking my truths and my thoughts about what I wanted to experience in these next 30 days and my intentions, I mentioned that I wanted to give up, sugar for the next 30 days. And before I even got a chance to finish that sentence, I felt just this booming voice within me say, that's not enough. And I remember just stopping and being like, well, okay, well, I already wrote it down. But it was just kind of like, what do I do from this point? And I just kind of sat there a little bit, and I was just, okay, well, what is it? And it felt almost like that, again, that booming voice within me said, I need something more personal, something that you love the most, something that you cannot live without, something that it would cause pain to lose. And I was sitting there thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, what does that mean? Like, would I have to kill someone? Like, it was just weird. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And I was just sitting there and kind of gazing at the water. And the next thing, I just automatically felt like singing, like either humming a song or singing something. And I couldn't remember the words, and I couldn't think about what to sing or what was going over. And I realized that I wasn't able to sing. Like, I wanted to sing very strongly, or I wanted to remember a song. Like, it was just weird, but I couldn't. And I realized that that's what Odin was asking. He was asking for my voice. It was, you know what it sounds like? It's a very Little Mermaid Ursula moment. But I was just like, my voice, like, does that mean like to be silent? Like, not to speak? Because that's going to be very hard, because I work and I'm always on the phone. But that's not what he meant. For me, I think it was important because I love singing. I'm not the best singer. I'm not singing professionally, but I sing all the time in the shower and when I'm humming. There's always music playing and I'm always singing. Even when someone asks me a question, I respond in the song, and it frustrates Eric sometimes, but I'm just a musical person. And I realized that was going to be a sacrifice and a challenge for me to give up music and singing, and my voice in terms of speaking as well. And so to be silent took over the whole sweet sacrifice. And I realized that Odin wanted something a little bit more personable and something that was just, more personal and intense. And in reading upon Odin, I know that he's given a lot of sacrifices, including his eye. He gave up his eye in the Well of Mimir to seek more knowledge, and he also sacrificed himself and died and searched for the runes and to work with divination. So that to me resonated a lot with me, because it's someone that's willing, like I mentioned earlier in another video, willing to do what it takes to seek out the unknown and to learn from the unknown and to use the unknown in everyday life. It's awesome. And I remember just kind of being like, okay, we'll make a deal. Like, I won't sing. And then in my head I was like, that doesn't seem too hard, but I mean, I'm 2 weeks in, and I kid you not, it is the hardest thing. Like, I'll catch myself like about to open my mouth and hum a song, or a song will come up and I'm like, oh, I love this song, and I'm like about to sing, I was like, fuck, I can't. Like, it's so hard. But in these 2 weeks, if you're familiar with the Witch's Pyramid, one of the saying is to keep silence, and that has been such a powerful growth for me, because I didn't realize how vocal I am. And I say that in a way that I'm not always present, that I'm always making some sound. There's always a noise that I'm doing. I'm always creating and moving. I'm never just still and silent. And I notice I fill in the silence with noise. I'll hum, I'll sing, I'll fill in that energy because I don't like the silence. And so I figured that is probably what he wants me to be in, is to listen to the silence and see what comes up. So I started to do that, and I noticed that by not listening to music, I'm driving in my car with nothing, just my thoughts. It's so beautiful to be able to hear yourself and to hear your thought process and to be able to acknowledge what comes in. And the great thing about being present is that you're so aware of your surroundings. There's like an increase of being alert, especially when you're watching people and seeing how people interact. And it's a very regal thing if you think about like a king or a queen sitting in their throne or looking over their kingdom and seeing how their community is moving or talking or experiencing their lives. And it's been like that for me. Like, I've been witnessing my family in silence. I've been witnessing my friends and coworkers in silence, just seeing them for who they are and the way that they respond. And I feel like it's made me appreciate things a lot more. And so it's been a very interesting experience. So in these past 2 weeks, I've been working on that, as well as learning everything I can about Odin, and all the folklore and the stories, and the books I read kind of all reiterate the same tales. They might be tweaking some things here and there, but I've heard them enough where I can kind of know what they're describing. And so now that this 2 weeks of just learning, revisiting the runes, revisiting the 9 realms, as well as just the history of Odin and North pagan mythology, now that I have all this knowledge, these next 2 weeks to wrap up the 30 days would be actually doing work, and that means spell work, doing shadow work, really digging into the deep. It does feel like school again, where you're just studying and studying and studying, and now that you've learned all this stuff, it's time to put it into use and see how this might benefit your practice. And then I think that's something where I'm still struggling, because I really want to share the things I've worked on day by day, but I'm gonna wait till the end to discuss it and show and go through more experience. But I'm really excited on how this part, because it gave me the opportunity to really just focus on myself, focus on the relationship with working with Odin, and not feel that pressure that I have to post or share and quickly go through the motions just so that I have time to share with everyone. And it really allowed me to just focus. But this piece is just in dedication to all that work, all that creative energy that I would love to sing out loud, but I will have to put it in a painting. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you guys showing me all the love on this channel as well as my Instagram. Thank you guys so much. Until the next video, I love you guys. Blessed be.